actually, we believe that over the next few years, there's going to be an increase in demand for the chips from NVIDIA, from AMD, and from others, not a decrease. This is known as Jevons paradox, because although, yes, initially you might think, well, with DeepSeek out, maybe it's cheaper to train, fewer GPUs, but over time, more people can access the technology, more people want to use it, more inference also, that is, when you use the models themselves, not just training the models, that leads overall net to an increase in demand for data centers and for chips. So I think it's actually a very positive impact that DeepSeek is having. It's broadening out the space. It's bringing prices lower and ultimately will increase access to these kinds of technologies.
We need to check AI chip giant NVIDIA versus ARM holdings. ARM makes the blueprints for NVIDIA and other semiconductor companies' chips. An SEC filing shows NVIDIA sold about 900,000 of its 1.9 million share position it had in ARM. No comment on why NVIDIA sold the shares, but ARM is smarting from the move. We've got NVIDIA up 2%, ARM off the lows of the session, but still down about 4.5%. Arguably, on any other day, ARM might be jumping on this headline. The FT reports ARM will actually start making real chips, not just the blueprints of chips, as early as this summer. And its first customer will be Meta. Meta on pace for its 17th straight record close. It's really historic here, folks, and its 20th day of gains.
Again, NVIDIA, by the way, having its own big week. Christina Partsenevelos joins us now with more on that move, which has been pretty good in its own way, right?
Yeah, because NVIDIA shares are finally breaking out of their 2025 slump after climbing, more than 5% this week. And it was pretty much trading flat all year since January. The stock had been held back, though, for two main reasons. Potentially, number one, potentially tighter export controls under the Trump administration following DeepSeek's recent breakthrough. That's when you really saw the stock drop in mid-January. And production challenges. That's point number two with NVIDIA's next-generation Blackwell chips. These supply chain worries led Mizuho analysts, for example, to project just in-line results for NVIDIA's upcoming January quarter. That's going to be, we'll get some more details on February 26th. But the outlook is improving. HP Enterprise has now shipped its first Blackwell-based product, while AI server maker Supermicro is forecasting surging demand for 2026, a strong signal for future NVIDIA chip sales. Meanwhile, NVIDIA's investment arm has been reshuffling its portfolio. The company's latest filings show it did indeed cut its stake in ARM holdings by 44% to 1.1 million shares and completely exited positions in NanoX Imaging, Serve Robotics, and SoundHound. SoundHound shares actually falling about 29% today on that news. But NVIDIA is also placing new bets, acquiring 1.7 million shares in self-driving tech company WeRide, which has soared today over 80%, that's share price, and then also taking a $1.2 million share position in AI infrastructure firm Nebius Group. That shares stock is also up about 5%. Keep in mind, these are Q4 numbers, not reflecting NVIDIA's investments in 2025. Scott.
All right.
The robo-taxi firm operates a range of autonomous vehicles like robo-vans, robo-road sweepers as well across 7 countries. It's launching a pilot in Switzerland and a partnership with Uber to offer robo-taxis in Abu Dhabi. NVIDIA is no stranger to this industry, providing AI computing infrastructure for driverless cars. Its Drive platform, that's the name of it, helps robo-taxis process sensor data in real time. As for NVIDIA's other investments, the 13F reveals NVIDIA still owns stakes in Applied Digital, as well as Recursion Pharmaceuticals as of the filing date, which we know doesn't reflect investments in current time 2025, but it's helping all of those names move higher today.
Yeah, I'm personally, I was just listening to this whole report, but I'm perhaps most curious about the Partsenevelos investment, because it sounded like there was a baby behind you, and I'm all for that. But if I stick with this,
there's a baby right next to me.
Love it. But if I stick with NVIDIA, I am just curious, because as we see companies like NVIDIA get bigger and bigger, the ability to do more and more M&A, at least in the past couple of years, has been perhaps stifled. And so I wonder if we continue to see more of these types of investments, these types of strategic partnerships, et cetera, from companies that are flush with cash above and beyond Silicon Valley and above and beyond hedge funds.
You could say definitely that's the case for NVIDIA and its shareholders. And I say that because the stock and share price has been range bound for quite some time, around the 200-day moving average of $125 to just passing the 50-day moving average of $135. I bring that up because investors want more. So when you have the ARM investing in various companies like the WeRide, for example, it shows that NVIDIA is putting its money to work and possibly in future M&A activity, which would bring back some return to shareholders. Because right now, it really takes a lot to impress NVIDIA shareholders. The stock's up dramatically over the last year, but year to date, pretty flat.
All right, I hope you're all doing great today. The S&P finished the day basically flat, and NVIDIA finished the day about 2.6% higher. I want to cover three things in this video. First, I want to talk about some news we got yesterday. Then I want to talk about the NVIDIA news we got today. And third, I want to talk about what's ahead for NVIDIA. So yesterday, President Trump held a news conference on reciprocal tariffs. No tariffs were put into effect, but rather we learned that there could be reciprocal tariffs as soon as early April. The president specifically mentioned Taiwan, saying that they took the United States chip business and the U.S. wants it back. The president also said that there will be chip tariffs that will be on top of the reciprocal tariffs. The reason this was not a problem for NVIDIA stock in the short term is that we did not get the specific details about the chip tariffs, and more importantly, we learned that those tariffs are most likely not going to happen at least until early April. This caused market participants to breathe a sigh of relief about NVIDIA, at least for the next couple months. In other news yesterday, we learned that HPE shipped its first Grace Blackwell system, which is great news for NVIDIA. And then today, we got a flurry of news about NVIDIA and other news about AI chips more broadly. The most notable piece of news for NVIDIA today was that we got NVIDIA's latest 13F filing, which revealed that the company has shifted some of its portfolio holdings. Here is a condensed summarization of the 13F. As you can see, NVIDIA trimmed their position in ARM by more than 40%, but even after this trim, ARM remains NVIDIA's largest holding, representing more than 44% of NVIDIA's portfolio. NVIDIA completely exited their positions in NanoX Imaging, SoundHound, and Serve Robotics, while establishing new positions in Nebius and WeRide. Remember that these were NVIDIA's holdings as of December 31st. We don't know NVIDIA's real-time holdings at this very moment, but this is the information from NVIDIA's latest 13F that was filed today. I also want to mention an interesting news story that was published today. So earlier today, Bloomberg reported that the administration asked TSMC to run Intel's U.S. factories. This is very relevant to NVIDIA, as TSMC is the company that manufactures NVIDIA's chips. However, later in the day, news broke of a White House official saying that it was unlikely that the president would support a foreign company controlling a U.S. company's factories. We know the administration wants more AI chip manufacturing to be done within the United States, and so we are likely to hear news about chip tariffs and possibly tariffs on Taiwan in the future. TSMC is, of course, at the heart of this entire situation, as they manufacture the vast majority of the world's leading AI chips. We'll see what happens in the days ahead. In the meantime, we have NVIDIA earnings to look forward to on February 26th, and then after that we have NVIDIA's GTC March 17th through the 21st. This is where we are likely to get news about NVIDIA's products in the data center, which is where NVIDIA makes the majority of their revenue. We may learn more about Rubin, which is the next generation after Blackwell, and we may even learn about the next generation after Rubin. Overall, I'm optimistic as Blackwell ramps in volume, and we are approaching both NVIDIA earnings and GTC. I've noticed in recent weeks some analysts have actually decreased their estimates for NVIDIA's earnings on the 26th, and that is actually a good thing for the stock because it means NVIDIA has a lower bar to jump over, and it provides more room for NVIDIA to potentially deliver an upward surprise. Regardless of that, I'm optimistic about NVIDIA over the long term. With all of that being said, I hope you all have a great rest of the day, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts about NVIDIA in the comments below. Please leave a like on this video so more people will see it. And while you're down there, please consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.